I made it to 41-40.
Yeah.
I tried to press through. You know, we were at Odie's for Odie's team trivia last night. Got to the house, watched the first half on the couch, and I was like, I can't make it. And I was like, this is going to be a hell of a game. So I missed the huge run in the second half from Arizona. And you could just tell Alabama really, to me, had their opportunity in the first half where both teams came out and they couldn't make shots.
Oh, 3 of, 22 in the first half, 3 of 22.
Alabama started 3 of 19, missed 11 straight shots.
Yeah, and then they ended up on the night 8 of 43s. Now, already in the Twitter feed today, you've got things like Chad saying, can Nate teach this team how to play basketball and not just shoot threes every time down the floor? That's the system. It got you the number 1 seed overall last year. It's won you a couple of SEC tournaments and a couple of SEC regular seasons. But when you can't throw it in the ocean like they did for a minute last night, 8 of 40, it becomes frustrating to watch.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But, you know, if you hit 5 more of those and you shoot basically 33% behind the arc, you win the game.
You win the game.
Yeah, I mean, to get off 43s, I don't know if that is good or bad. I can't remember the last time I saw a team that missed 32 shots behind the arc. But they had their opportunities. And what are 2 of the best offensive teams in all of college basketball? It looked like a mess early on.
Here's one takeaway from the game. And if you watched it like a lot of you Bama fans did, Alabama led the game for 21 minutes and 52 seconds. Arizona only led for 13-22, most of that at the end of the contest. And Arizona had a 41-40 lead at the half. But again, it goes back to this is not a physical Alabama team. The last couple of years, they've been physically they couldn't get pushed around. You couldn't push them around. Even the great Tennessee teams who play very physical, Alabama could battle with them. They didn't always beat them, but they would battle with them in close games.
You don't have anybody for the Ballo kid. I mean,
Yep.
way too physical with 16 and 12 last night, and just watching him.
You didn't have anybody for Edey.
Yeah, that's yeah, absolutely. I don't know if anybody does for Edey,
Yeah.
but
And then was it Cal Brenner or whoever for Creighton?
yeah, but yeah, your point. I mean, look, I get it. This Alabama team, the way they are built, I'm trying to see who they remind me of. Maybe an Arizona team over the last couple of years, where really it is just a bunch of athletes that like to shoot threes, and you're just not going to get a physical presence.
I think they've been physical, though, until this year. I thought they were physical the last few years.
Yeah, I'm talking about this
yeah.
particular team.
This team doesn't seem to have that in their DNA, and it's going to be tough in the SEC coming up because I think Auburn's physical, Tennessee's already physical, Kentucky is shooting a lot of threes now, but they're still physical. I mean, you'll get some physical play coming up in the league, but Arizona wins it. 87-74, cut 1 Rockstar. Nelson had 17. Sam Walters had a wonderful first half, 15. Didn't really get a lot of shots up. But it's a 3-game losing streak now. But Alabama also played 3 top 10 in the AP poll at the time they played them teams in a row here. Purdue, who's now number 1, was number 3. Creighton was number 8. They're now number 12. And Arizona, who was number 1, is now number 4 in back-to-back-to-back games. After you hear Nate Oats, I got a big question here. Here's Nate.
In these 3 games we just played 2, we got them all off, coming off a loss. Purdue comes off Northwestern, so they're going to be ready to play. Creighton's coming off a loss at UNLV, they're ready to play. Arizona's coming off a loss to Purdue, they're ready to play. So, which I don't mind. I don't mind playing these non-conference games while they're playing their best basketball. Point is to get some quality wins. We didn't get them. It's also to get us ready for conference play. So we just got to use it as learning tools and get ready for conference play. I think losing exposes a lot. Losing exposes a lot about your character. How tough are your guys? Can they come back and continue to learn? So we just got to regather. We got 2 non-conference games before we hit SEC play. We got a tough league, but I think we can compete for an SEC championship, and that's our goal right now.
I would tell you this, Lance. Usually this tough schedule, they get at least 1 good out-of-conference win, and they don't really have one great out-of-conference win. They don't really have one great out-of-conference win. You wanted to go 1-2 at least in this 3-game stretch. And my big question is, what does it do to your team confidence? Because you're 6-5 now, but you've played a really tough schedule. So can you pick up the swagger in these 2 gimme games before SEC play and go in with a little confidence to SEC play? or do you end up being like the quarterback who's a rookie behind a bad offensive line in an expansion team, and you're dodging ghosts the rest of the
No,
way?
I really think you can build off of this because, the bad news is you lost 3 consecutive games, but the good news is these are teams you'll see in regional finals. These are all 3 teams that have an opportunity to go to a Final Four this year. So you look at these games. Alabama led in these games. Alabama was right there. Outside of the slow start last night, they were in the Arizona game. How tough is the SEC going to be this year? Is it going to be as good as it has been?
I think it's going to be a six bid league.
You got to get some of these out of conference games, though.
I don't think you have to.
Well, so what do you got to go in conference then? To be 6-5 coming into this, and look, I know we deem these as quality losses.
Oh, they are really good quality losses because none were at home, and you had some games that were within the 10-point or 7-point margin,
and they're all quad ones.
They're going to help you.
That ain't going to change.
They're going to help you all the way. They'll be quad ones year long. And listen, Landmine Believer saying, Jim, Indiana State's 17 in the net. Don't buy the net this time of year. Go to KenPom. Follow KenPom there, and then that'll help you there. Indiana State will not help this team tremendously at the end of the year.
I did think Nate had some people would call it an excuse, and he kind of backed it up a little bit after he said it. But it is interesting that you get Purdue coming off a loss to Northwestern, Creighton gets demolished by UNLV, and then Arizona, in 3 years, they have never lost back-to-back games under Tommy Lloyd.
Yeah, great teams don't usually lose back-to-back games.
But that's hard to do in 3 years.
Yeah, but to his point is, Purdue got a wake-up call, and then they played Alabama. Creighton got a wake-up call, played Alabama. Arizona got a wake-up call. You just wish you'd have been at least one of those times the team that beat them before they got the wake-up call.
I think this Alabama team's good. I don't know how good.